I'm GREYMOND. I'm an expert in OCD recovery because for the last 19 years, I've been helping people fully recover from OCD. If you would like to do personal coaching with me, all the information is on youhaveocd.com. You can sign up from there. Today, I want to talk to you about OCD medication, and specifically 3 points you should consider when you decide whether to go on medication or not. As you know, I am not a doctor, I'm a specialist. I have been doing recovery work with clients for the last 20 years, so I have a lot of experience, but I am not a medical doctor. So please consult your doctor for any changes in your medication. So number 1 point, when you decide to take medication or not, is you need to very clearly understand that most likely your OCD will not go away with medication. You cannot medicate your way out of OCD. It can help, it can be a tool, but with, again, a lot of experience that I have, what I see with clients is for most people, it's about, I would say, 25 to maybe 40% reduction in symptoms, something like that. This is what you can expect. And I would say 40 is being very generous. Most people are around 25-30% reduction in medication, in symptoms when they're taking medication. So this is a realistic expectation, okay? With that expectation, if you use it as a tool to help you do recovery work, that's fine. But don't think of it, and I'm not, personally, I'm not against medication at all. But you need to have a realistic outlook, which brings me to my second point. When, in my opinion, should you be using medication? You should be using medication when you are in a situation that you've been doing recovery work for a while and you're just not getting anywhere with it. Like, I mean, you're a 10 out of 10, you're ruminating or doing compulsions the entire day, and you feel powerless to stop it. So this is not in the moment kind of thing like, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to take medication. Not like that. But I mean that over months, you've tried and tried and you make zero progress. Because even if you made a little bit of progress, then from there you can continue to step down slowly, right? Slowly reducing compulsion, slowly reducing rumination. But if you feel like you've made absolutely none, then medication might be something you want to look at. Again, because the reduction of the 20, let's say, right, we're being realistic. So the reduction of 25% might be that thing that you need to push through. So it might be just enough for you to, okay, I'm going to do recovery work. So from that perspective, but again, it still comes down to the work. So the question is, can you do work without medication? If you can, continue to do the work. Don't bother with the medication. If you feel like you can't, and there's so many natural alternatives. I'll do a different video on this, but and I've done videos before on this too. But if you can't, and you feel like you just need that extra support, take medication for a little while. The worst thing is when people say, my doctor told me I need to take this medication for life, and then for some reason equated it to diabetes. Well, you take diabetes or people take diabetes medication. It's just like the whole diabetes thing. If you hear this is a ploy to make you more agreeable to take medication. So anyways, whatever. It's like a psychological trick, but whatever. Decide for yourself. There is no right or wrong answer. If you need extra support for a limited time as you are starting to do recovery work, because as you start to do recovery work, your anxiety will start to go down, but you do need to start doing recovery work. So if you are unable to, fine, take medication for a little while. It's not going to do anything, okay? Which brings me to point number 3. And this is probably the one that is the most important one to me. For me, it's important that my clients, my listeners, believe in themselves, believe in their strength, and believe that they can recover. Because it starts with a decision and making the choice. And it's very hard to make the choice to do recovery work if you don't even feel like you could. And I guess everybody in the beginning feels like they can't, but what happens with medication a lot of the times, especially if people started at around the same time that they start to do recovery work, and this is not just with the GREYMOND method. The GREYMOND method is, honestly, guys, I don't say it because it's mine. I'm saying it because I don't want you to be stuck the way you are stuck. This is the most effective thing I've seen for OCD. I have not seen anything that works better. Like, I'm telling you. I would adjust my method if I saw something that would be more effective. But really, I'm just not seeing it. Like, being 1,000,000% honest with you. So, but with any new method that you start, right? If you take medication at the same time, if you started at the same time, what can happen is that you start to attribute your progress to medication. So you'll say, well, yeah, I am making progress. I'm working on it, I'm making progress, but I also started to take medication. So maybe it's the medication. And you feel inside like you don't know which one it is. And then you have this fear of being stuck on medication, because what if I come off of it, right? Then it becomes almost like meta OCD, fear of anxiety, fear of recovery, or fear of not recovery and all that. That what if I come off of it and then my OCD gets worse? So you stop attributing the work that you've done to, like, why am I feeling better? It's because of the work. No, you start to see, what if it's because of the medication? And it's not true. It is because of the work you've done. Medication just kind of like gives you a little extra cushion. So let's say if you've done work, you were at level 10 anxiety and you went down to, let's say, level 6, right? But with medication, without medication, maybe you are for real at like a level 7 or 8. Now, maybe not 8, maybe like a 7. So it just adds that little bit of an extra cushion. So those are the 3 things. So again, going through them again. Number 1, medication is not a cure for OCD. It can only reduce it. Number 2, if you are deciding to take medication, you want to make sure that you are attributing your recovery work to your recovery. Medication is just a tool that helps. And number 3, if you feel like you absolutely are unable to push through even a little bit, then taking medication for a little bit of time is fine, as long as you view it as a temporary thing in your life and not something you permanently have to be on. You also have to understand that a lot of the times when you go to a therapist or a doctor or whatever, they do one-off exposures, and OCD morphs, as you know. So of course that method is going to keep you chronic. But when they do this method that keeps you chronic, and then afterwards they tell you, no, you need to be on medication for life, that's kind of bad. Because it's the method. You don't need to be on medication for life. You don't need to be doing that method. Versus if you do this method and say, okay, any thought that comes in, doesn't matter the content, doesn't matter what it's telling me, pretend it's in a different language. Whatever it tells me, it's OCD, I'm not reacting, I'm not feeding it, I'm doing exposure recovery work all day. Because whenever you're in this thought, whatever the situation is for you, right? You're already in exposure when a thought came in. So what are you going to do? Response prevention or response a lot? Are you going to do ERP, exposure response prevention, or not? And it's all day. It's not an hour a day. It's not focused exposures. It's all day, because I guarantee you, if you're at level 10 anxiety, it's coming into your mind all day. I hope this clears it up for you. Thank you for listening. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. If you would like to do private coaching with me, please sign up through youhaveocd.com. I'll see you tomorrow.